There's something about this polarized universe that just makes us feel like the knock on the door to move, to grow, to build, to feel, to become, to love, to transform. It's a knock you just can't get to stop. It's like you let that motherfucker in the house every fucking day, and it's like, all right, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, and we're gonna have some fun then. I've always felt pretty hot, so to speak. I've always burned a little too hot. Always felt like my mind was moving at 1,000 miles per hour. Always had a body that couldn't really sit still for too long. Still can't. Always had a spirit that burned to become. And I always felt out of place for it within society. But I always look to people. I always look to leaders and great figures of the present and of the past. And I always saw people who felt like me. Maybe not exactly like me, but it felt like I was that kind of person, that kind of visionary, the entrepreneur, the leader, the political figure, the statesman, the artist, the performer, the educator. I always saw these roles and I always felt resonance with them in my being. And for a long time, I never understood what to do. Like, I felt so just incomplete in my adolescence, but I didn't really know it, but it was always there. Because I'd always loved to draw, and I'd always loved to dance and make YouTube videos and so many things, but when I was 10, I just stopped. Too much shame, too much comparing myself to others, too much, I'm not good enough for this, I'm not good enough for that, I'll never be this, so what's the point? And I allowed my love for allowing my being to express itself in these mediums. I just kept my expression in this like little ass box. I kept my exploration of knowledge mainly into science. And my time, it was very helpful, so to speak, because I learned so many first principles about physics and psychology and chemistry, and I even learned so many first principles about emotional connection and leadership through just experience with my own friends and starting social work at 15 and having like group therapy sessions with my homies at 16, and also like playing Overwatch 1,000 hours, like maybe like 3,000 hours. Probably like 4,000 hours of TAC FPSing in 2020 through 2022. I've always been the IGL kind of guy, you know what I mean? Any of my TAC FPS players, you guys know. I've never been the sharpshooter, so to speak, or the like hardcore entry player. Now I can go in first because I got some big balls, but I'm always more of a second in kind of guy, or maybe last alive to clutch up. I'm the mind and the one who sees and the one who makes the calls, and I'm the emotional substrate that keeps the team together and keeps our heads straight, you know what I mean, keeps us cool. That's my role in the team. I'm not the sharpest executor in everything, but damn, this thing sharp, and damn, this thing knows how to move people. Do you know what I'm saying? Those are my skills. Those are my talent. Those are my gifts. And I've spent a lot of time honing them consciously in the last 2 years. And I've gotten to this point of realizing that this restlessness that we feel inside of us every day, especially if you're a lever, especially if you're a statesman or executive or a religious leader, especially if you're someone who's a systems level builder or a fellow polymath, someone who like just has to hunt, has to learn, has to build, or they like, if you feel like you don't move with the fire, it'll burn you fucking alive. You know what I'm saying? Y'all especially know what I'm talking about. My hunters who burn too hot to sit still. That's what I like to call us. We've been told that ego is driving us. You're a narcissist. You're just, it's all shallow, or, whatever the BS is. And the thing is, some people are playing that game, and it's true. And the thing is, you might have been playing that game originally, but it's evolved for you. It's become something deeper. It's become something higher than yourself, supra, so to speak. And when you align with that which is higher, that which is lower, well, it can no longer resonate with that which was even lower. It's like when you're no longer operating from this like egoic control power tactics game, if you were ever operating there, or maybe you got caught up in that game and then you found your way back. Or maybe that was the way you started, but then it went to something different, and it became heart-focused, purpose, calling, mission. And if that's where you're at, there's something deeper than just, I want more. It's so much deeper, but everyone psychologizes it, because that's the highest level they're operating at with this like inner work shit and this like metaphysical shit. Like psychology is looking at the human mind, right? And that is metaphysical work. Like the mind isn't a fucking physical thing you can observe, right? And so it is metaphysical, right? And the thing is, psychology is an excellent bridge between like the exterior sciences and the interior sciences. But if you only look at psychology from the exterior perspective and never like the interior, mystical, metaphysical perspective, your perception's always going to be limited. That's like the thing. Like for me, I was chopping up with my boy Andrew a few days ago. We had lunch, and it was mad cool. Andrew, he's like 20 years old. He's second or third year at Georgia State doing an engineering degree. Super, very, very smart guy. And he's a Christian. He's a Protestant. And so we like have like super high level philosophical, theological conversations. And he had said this to me. He was like, yo, Jaden, do you like study psychology? I feel like you'd be really interested. And I was like, dude, honestly, I haven't studied psychology since I was in like high school. Because in high school, I was just obsessed with understanding psychology. And I was like living it too. Like I was doing the social working sessions personally since I was 15 throughout high school. And so I got a lot of reps knowing psychology interiorly, and I studied it from that place, and I saw it in real time. Like I got real data with my own friends in our own group session. Do you feel what I'm saying? People I'd literally known since I was 5 years old, and we were 15 together in this session, and I could see certain things, and I could understand certain patterns, and I could understand certain things, and I could start seeing these dynamics of polarity and of transformation and of the shadow and how all these interactions come and play together. And I just started observing things, and I just started collecting data, and eventually I got into metaphysics, and I was like, whoa, it's all the same polarity mechanics, but not in people. Whoa, or at higher levels in people. Whoa, what the fuck? Oh man, I'm taken by the mystery. Shout out all my fellow mystics. There's something deep within the side of us, and if you don't look beyond just the human mind, if you don't go to the deeper mechanics of the cosmos at large, because at the end of the day, we're correspondent to the cosmos, correspondent to the universe. And so if you observe the universe enough, I promise you're going to start understanding yourself at such a deeper level, right? Because the universe has mechanics of polarity and sacred mechanics that can't be psychologically distorted by human perception, because there's no human perception to psychologically distort the universe. It's just the universe. You get what I'm saying? It's a different level of intelligence, a different level of being. The universe is. As is Mother Gaia, as is nature. And so, like, the thing is, the human mind, the ability for consciousness to perceive itself, that's kind of where the slippage happens when we're talking about polarity and about mechanics. And that's where distortion can come in. And that's where falsity can be aligned with and acted upon. And if you don't understand that there's deeper mechanics, you'll never understand that the things inside of you aren't psychological, and they're cosmological, they're spiritual mechanics. And if you don't study those, you won't be able to discern what is actually psychological getting in your way and what's not. Now, I can discern those things. If you like my services, you can hire me. Interior translation consultation, or you can talk about an advisory retainer or a guild retainer. Link in description with the 15-minute polymath consult. Shoot me a DM, hop in an email. We can hop on a call as well, whatever it is. But if you never go deeper than just psychologically, like just the mind, if you don't look at the universe as large, if you don't look at people at a large and get enough data, not just from yourself, but from other people, right? Observing other people is a part of interior science. As much as you have to live this and practice interior science on yourself, of course, you're the first test subject, and you always will be. Then you have to see what you've learned about yourself and how that works in terms of the universe, and how does that look in other people. This is why studying philosophers and studying science and studying artists and studying religion is so important, right? That's why I'm here synthesizing all these perspectives to deliver this message to you, to articulate this to you, right? I'm not saying anything new, honestly. Like, people have been saying these same things for millennia. I'm just articulating it and wrapping it in a cool way, looking kind of snazzy while doing it, looking way better than all those guys. I'm looking way better than Aristotle was. Like, let's be honest, bro. Shout out my dog Aristotle, though. That's my nigga. Feel me? But I'm looking way flyer than Aristotle. And that's cool. You know what I mean? It's just same wisdom, because wisdom is eternal, different time. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, when we understand that there's deeper mechanics, like divine dissatisfaction, like this relentlessness, it allows us to detach from this story that we've been sold by society and actually align with the higher cosmic story. Because the thing is, there is a story actually going on here. You're just not perceiving the correct one. So let me tell you it real quick. Here's the thing. You have an infinite nature, an infinite essence. That is your soul's interiority. It's a reflection of the infinite nature of the all, the infinite nature of God. There's a problem. Actually, this isn't the problem, but it can be perceived as a problem because it's kind of annoying sometimes. I understand. We have this physical body we're bound to. We have this finite mind that wants to the word I'm looking for is kind of compressed, but it also doesn't feel good enough. It just limits things too much. And it doesn't allow for openness as much of the time as it should. And that's the thing. That's kind of the journey we're on with the mind, expanding our awareness, expanding our capacity to hold multiple perspectives in the mind, to hold opposite things, to understand, to inquire, to question. And the thing is, it's hard to open the mind if the nervous system in the body is also very contracted. And so that's why you have to really approach these things. And in my opinion, like, trying to approach metaphysics purely like mentally without like mystical embodied practice. Like, this is why I don't teach something else besides devotional flow state ritual. One, because it's the only thing that's actually worked for me. So I'd be lying if I said there was something else I really knew. Right? I can teach you the science, no problem. Anyone can take invariants and apply them to their life. But I can't tell you specifically how to go about practicing these things for you specifically, right? Now, if you're like me, remember, like those hunters who burned too hot to sit still? If you're like me in that case, I can help you out in this sense, but I still can't say you do this thing, like you write specifically, or you learn this thing. Like, I can't do that. That's not how this works, right? What I can give you is invariance. I can also give you invariance in terms of temperament. I can even translate to you specifically if I know you well enough. That's the value of interior translation. But what I can't do is be like, all right, here's how you live your life. Like, I can't give you exact tactics. I can give you guidelines. I can give you tactics. But I can't give you, here's step A, step B, step C, step D. Because honestly, by the time I even get to step C, I have no clue what you should do. I can see steps A through like G, but I'm like, honestly, past C, bro, I don't know how you actually get to D. I just know that this is how it works. You know what I'm saying? I just understand the sequence. That don't mean I can tell you how to approach the sequence every single step of the way for your specific application. Do you feel what I'm saying? That's just how the universe goes. And the thing is, we all have this uniqueness inside of us. I talked about that in the last video. The principle of vibration explained in plain English. We are these infinite beings, but we have this finite expression, this finite capacity to actually match our infinite desire. And because of that, there's always this fundamental mismatch between our interiority and our exterior. The problem is the ego has this flipped, as it usually does, because the ego is the contrasting principle in the mind, right? The ego isn't like an actual thing that exists. Like people say, oh, your ego is so big, or, you know, the spiritual ego, you got to kill that, all those spiritual motherfuckers. They don't know what they're talking about. The ego isn't a noun, it's a verb, it's a motion. The ego is the contrasting principle in your mind. And so there's the unique mind, which is dual, the intellect and the intuition. And the ego contrasts your unique mind. It makes you do hella cap shit. You know what I'm saying? And so the ego believes that the mismatch is between an infinite exterior and a finite interior that can never be good enough and will always have a void inside of it. It'll always be incomplete, finite, never enough. Always looking for more outside of it, always on an infinite hamster wheel. Do you understand? However, that's not the case. Because the reality is that you are infinite in nature, because your ontology reflects the ontology of the one, of God. And infinitum est unius, est rei unius. The one thing is infinite. There we go. I don't know. I said it in Latin and it just was like, yes, Latin. And then I was like, wait, what is this in English? My bad. Infinitum est rei unius. Deus est infinitum intelligere. Infinite intelligence. God is. And so we have to recognize that that infinite intelligence is the very substrate of reality. And that infinite intelligence is what's always moving the universe. And we are a part of that movement. Like I said, I talked about this in the last video. We're always moving with the cosmos. But are we aligned with that movement? Are we going with the flow, or are we fighting the current? Divine dissatisfaction is that feeling of restlessness. It's like, why do I always have to move? It's because the current's moving, baby. What do you mean? The point of the universe is so the current can move. No, that's the point. The problem is you've been perceiving why the current is moving incorrectly and how you should approach it. And that's really what I talked about in last video, in terms of the current of infinite transformation, the one current of infinite transformation, the infinite current of desire, and how there's infinite unique ways to get into that place. You know what I mean? So go watch the last video for that. Divine restlessness can be summarized simply. It's that, divine dissatisfaction. Divine dissatisfaction is the restlessness that a soul feels to express its infinite nature within the bounds of finitude, to express more, to hold more, to experience more goodness, more truth, more beauty, more love, more of the infinite's nature. Because at the end of the day, that's what the universe is. Divine inquiry in motion. Desiring to experience its own love, its own truth, its own goodness, its own beauty, its own goodness. On infinitely deeper levels through the contrast that polarity creates. That's why the polarized universe is here. We are all within the cosmic love story, aiding in this just beautiful experience of God loving God's self on infinitely deeper levels. And through desire, through the erotic principle, we come together and we participate in that. And our art reflects that, and our spiritual lives reflect that, and our sexuality reflects that, and all these beautiful aspects of presence and flow and focus and going beyond yourself, all these beautiful aspects of the human experience that make us feel like we are so much more than just this individual self, because we are. And that's the thing. Divine dissatisfaction is your desire, your soul, your unique self, your true soul's desire to express more of its infinite nature within the bounds of finitude, to hold more, to participate within the circulation of giving and receiving in the cosmos, to have more power for love, hopefully. The ego wants power for control, which is ultimately because it thinks it's going to get it love through that control. It's okay, ego. You just pat it on the head. All right, we're going to wrap that there. This was pretty good. My name is Jaden. I'm a 22-year-old polymath and metaphysical advisor for statesmen, executives, religious leaders, and institutions that want to make real change in the world. And my work focuses on interior translation, on metaphysical advisory, on the first principles and the first values, as well as the first causes. So ontology, cosmology, and the actual mechanics of the universe and how we go about applying those and living those things. And so if you are any of those people who'd like to hire me for my services, who would like my basically for me to be your eye, to be the guy who knows interior sciences well and can observe you psychologically, can tell you, oh no, this isn't at this level, it's at this one. You feel what I'm saying? Right now, you can't discern that yourself because you're not operating at here by default. This is my default. You feel what I'm saying? So that's my value to you. If you want to talk more about that, like I said, links in the description. I'm on out.